What if I told you that ignoring one simple warning sign could cost you your life in the next 24 hours? Today, you'll discover the 6 critical stroke warning signs that saved a 67-year-old woman's life, signs that 90% of seniors miss completely. And I'll reveal the one sign that doctors say is the most dangerous to ignore, yet it's so subtle that most people dismiss it as normal aging. Helen was standing in her kitchen, making her usual Tuesday evening soup, when she felt an unusual dizziness wash over her. Instead of dismissing it as being tired from her afternoon garden work, something made her pause and really pay attention. That moment of awareness literally saved her life when she recognized what doctors later confirmed was stroke warning sign number 3. Sign 1. Sudden severe headache. Have you ever experienced a headache so intense it felt like nothing you've had before? This isn't your typical tension headache or the mild discomfort you might feel after a long day. We're talking about what medical professionals call a thunderclap headache, one that strikes suddenly and feels like the worst pain you've ever experienced in your head. According to neurologists at Johns Hopkins Hospital, this type of headache can signal a hemorrhagic stroke, where bleeding occurs in the brain tissue itself. The research from Johns Hopkins shows that approximately 30% of people who experience sudden, severe headaches are having what doctors call a sentinel bleed, a small rupture that serves as a warning before a major stroke occurs. These headaches are completely different from any headache you've experienced before, often described by patients as feeling like someone hit them with a baseball bat or like their head might explode. The pain typically reaches maximum intensity within seconds or minutes, not gradually like most headaches we're familiar with. Consider what happened to Walter, a 74-year-old retired teacher from Michigan, who was reading his evening newspaper when he suddenly grabbed his head and told his wife it felt like someone was driving a nail through his skull. Instead of taking aspirin and going to bed like he normally would, Walter's wife insisted they go to the emergency room immediately. The key difference between this type of headache and others is both the intensity and the sudden onset. If you've never experienced anything like it before, your body is sending you a critical message that requires immediate medical attention. Don't try to treat this type of headache with over-the-counter pain relievers or assume it will pass on its own. The window for preventing a major stroke could be measured in hours, not days. Don't wait. If you experience the worst headache of your life, get medical help immediately. Sign 2. Sudden vision changes. Why are sudden vision problems never just about needing new glasses after 60? When we reach our senior years, we often expect some changes in our eyesight. But certain vision changes demand immediate attention because they can signal an impending stroke. The American Stroke Association has identified sudden vision loss, double vision, or partial vision loss as critical warning signs that require emergency medical care. These aren't the gradual changes you might notice over months or years. These are sudden, dramatic changes that happen within minutes or hours. According to research published by the American Stroke Association, sudden vision changes occur in approximately 44% of stroke patients, making it one of the most common early warning signs. The vision changes associated with stroke warning signs include sudden loss of vision in one or both eyes, sudden double vision, or sudden loss of peripheral vision. These changes happen because blood flow to the parts of your brain responsible for processing visual information becomes restricted or completely blocked. Beverly, a 71-year-old grandmother from Arizona, was watching her favorite morning television show when she suddenly couldn't see the right half of the screen. She covered her left eye and realized she had lost vision in the outer half of her right eye completely. Instead of waiting to see if it would improve, Beverly called her daughter immediately. The most important thing to understand about stroke-related vision changes is that they represent a medical emergency, not a normal part of aging. You can perform a simple daily vision test by covering each eye separately and looking at the same object or reading the same line of text. If you notice any sudden difference between your eyes, any sudden loss of vision, or if you suddenly start seeing double, these are not symptoms to wait and see about. The blood vessels supplying your brain's visual processing centers may be compromised, and immediate medical intervention could prevent permanent vision loss or a major stroke. Test your vision right now by covering each eye. It takes just 10 seconds and could save your sight. Sign 3. Unexplained dizziness or balance issues. This is the sign that saved Helen's life, and understanding the difference between normal dizziness and stroke warning dizziness could save yours too. We all experience occasional dizziness, perhaps when we stand up too quickly or when we're feeling under the weather. However, stroke-related dizziness has distinct characteristics that set it apart from the everyday dizziness we might dismiss as normal aging. According to stroke specialists at the Mayo Clinic, sudden dizziness combined with balance problems, especially when accompanied by nausea or walking difficulties, can indicate that blood flow to your brain's balance centers is being compromised. Mayo Clinic research indicates that dizziness occurs in approximately 85% of patients who experience what doctors call posterior circulation strokes. Strokes that affect the back part of the brain where balance and coordination are controlled. This type of dizziness typically comes on suddenly, feels different from any dizziness you've experienced before, and is often accompanied by difficulty walking in a straight line or feeling like the room is spinning around you. The key difference is that this dizziness doesn't improve when you sit down or close your eyes like typical dizziness might. Think about what happened to Nelson, a 69-year-old retired electrician from Texas, who felt sudden dizziness while walking to his mailbox, something he'd done thousands of times before. Instead of dismissing it as being tired, Nelson noticed he couldn't walk in a straight line and felt like he might fall over. He immediately went inside and called his physician. You can perform a simple balance test to monitor your stability regularly. Stand with your feet together, arms at your sides, and see if you can maintain your balance for 30 seconds without swaying or needing to steady yourself. If you suddenly find this difficult when it was previously easy, or if you experience dizziness that feels different from anything you felt before, don't dismiss it as normal aging. Stroke-related dizziness often progresses rapidly, and what starts as mild dizziness can lead to a major stroke within hours if the underlying blood flow problem isn't addressed. Try this balance test immediately after watching this. It's a simple way to monitor one of your body's most important warning systems. Sign 4. Sudden weakness or numbness. Why that arm falling asleep feeling could be your body's final warning before a major stroke occurs. We've all experienced the temporary numbness that comes when we've been sitting or lying in an awkward position, but stroke-related weakness or numbness has characteristics that make it distinctly different and far more dangerous. Harvard Medical School stroke researchers have identified sudden weakness or numbness, particularly when it affects one side of the body, as one of the most reliable predictors of an impending stroke. This isn't the tingling sensation you get from poor circulation. This is a sudden loss of normal strength or feeling that doesn't improve with movement or position changes. According to Harvard Medical School studies, sudden weakness or numbness occurs in approximately 88% of stroke patients, making it the most common warning sign. The weakness typically affects one side of the body more than the other, and it often starts in the face, arm, or leg before potentially spreading. What makes this particularly dangerous is that the weakness or numbness often comes and goes in the hours or days before a major stroke, leading people to dismiss it as temporary or unimportant. The medical term for these episodes is transient ischemic attacks, or TIAs, and they represent critical warnings that a major stroke may be imminent. Arthur, a 73-year-old retired postal worker from Oregon, noticed his left arm felt weak and numb while he was having his morning coffee, so weak that he nearly dropped his favorite mug. Instead of assuming he had slept on his arm wrong, Arthur paid attention to the fact that the weakness didn't improve after several minutes of moving his arm normally. The most effective way to monitor for this warning sign is to perform a simple daily strength test. Raise both arms above your head at the same time and hold them there for 10 seconds. Both arms should stay up equally. If one arm drifts downward or feels significantly weaker than the other, this could indicate a problem with blood flow to the part of your brain that controls motor function. Also pay attention to sudden numbness in your face. Try smiling in the mirror each morning and make sure both sides of your face move equally. Sudden weakness or numbness that affects one side of your body more than the other is never something to wait and see about. Do this arm test every morning. It could prevent the permanent paralysis that often follows when these warning signs are ignored. Sign 5. Speech difficulties when struggling to find words isn't just a senior moment, but could be a life-threatening emergency. We all have moments where we can't quite find the right word or stumble over our speech, especially as we get older. However, stroke-related speech difficulties are distinctly different from the occasional word-finding problems that come with normal aging. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has identified sudden speech changes as occurring in approximately 92% of stroke cases, making it one of the most reliable warning signs. These speech problems can include slurred speech, inability to speak clearly, difficulty understanding others, or sudden inability to find common words you use every day. CDC research shows that speech problems related to stroke happen because blood flow to the language centers of your brain becomes compromised. Unlike normal age-related word-finding difficulties, stroke-related speech problems come on suddenly and represent a significant change from your normal speaking ability. You might find yourself unable to say simple words you use every day. Your speech might become slurred even though you're not tired, or you might have trouble understanding what others are saying to you. These changes often fluctuate, getting better and worse over short periods, which can make them seem less serious than they actually are. Consider what happened to Sandra, a 65-year-old retired librarian from Florida, who was talking to her neighbor about their shared garden when she suddenly couldn't say the word tomatoes, a word she used almost daily. Instead of dismissing it as a normal senior moment, Sandra noticed that her speech felt thick and unclear, almost like her tongue wasn't working properly. You can monitor your speech clarity with a simple daily exercise. Each morning, say a few sentences out loud that include words you use regularly. Perhaps describe what you plan to do that day, or read a paragraph from the newspaper aloud. Pay attention to whether your speech sounds clear and normal compared to how you usually sound. If you suddenly have trouble pronouncing words clearly, if your speech becomes slurred, or if you can't find simple words you normally use without thinking, these changes require immediate medical attention. The language centers of your brain may not be getting adequate blood flow, and quick intervention can prevent permanent communication problems. Ask someone close to you to listen to you speak clearly right now. Early detection of speech changes can mean the difference between recovery and permanent communication loss. Sign 6. Sudden confusion or memory issues. The difference between normal forgetfulness and a stroke warning could determine whether you maintain your independence or face life-altering cognitive changes. While some memory changes are a normal part of aging, sudden confusion or significant memory problems that represent a dramatic change from your normal mental function can signal that your brain isn't getting the blood flow it needs. The National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke has documented that sudden confusion, disorientation, or significant memory problems occur in approximately 62% of stroke patients, particularly those affecting the frontal areas of the brain where executive function and memory processing occur. Research from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders shows that stroke-related confusion often manifests as sudden difficulty with familiar tasks, getting lost in familiar places, or sudden inability to remember important information like your address, phone number, or the names of close family members. This isn't forgetting where you put your keys or struggling to remember someone's name from years ago. This is suddenly becoming confused about basic information that's been automatic for you for decades. The confusion often comes and goes, which can make it seem less concerning, but these fluctuations actually indicate that blood flow to critical brain areas is being intermittently disrupted. Take what happened to Eugene, a 68-year-old retired accountant from Illinois who got lost driving to the grocery store he'd been shopping at for 15 years. Instead of dismissing it as being distracted, Eugene recognized that becoming confused about such a familiar route was completely unlike him and represented a significant change from his normal mental sharpness. You can monitor your cognitive function with a simple daily awareness check. Each morning, verify that you can clearly remember the current date, where you are, and the names of your immediate family members without having to think hard about these basic facts. Also, pay attention to your ability to complete familiar tasks like following a recipe you've made many times or navigating to places you visit regularly. If you suddenly become confused about information or tasks that are normally automatic for you, if you get lost in familiar places, or if you have trouble remembering basic personal information, these changes need immediate medical evaluation. Your brain's cognitive centers may not be receiving adequate blood supply, and rapid intervention can prevent permanent cognitive impairment. Don't ignore sudden confusion as just getting older. Mental sharpness that changes dramatically over hours or days is a medical emergency that requires immediate attention. These 6 warning signs represent your body's way of telling you that your brain needs immediate help. Recognizing even one of these signs and taking quick action can prevent up to 80% of stroke-related damage, according to emergency medicine specialists. The most important thing to remember is that you don't need to experience all 6 signs. Even one sign that represents a change from your normal function deserves immediate medical attention. Your awareness of these warning signs gives you the power to protect not just your health, but your independence and quality of life. Which of these 6 signs have you experienced? Share your experience in the comments below, because your story could help another senior recognize their own warning signs. If this information could help someone you care about, please share this video with them immediately. You could literally save a life. And make sure to subscribe for more essential health information that could protect you and your loved ones.